Hello everyone, this is Weather. In this update, we're going to be talking about an early fall front and a tropical update. So if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload daily updates to keep you ahead of the storm. So let's get right to it. First of all, happy Friday, everyone. Gosh, I can't believe it's August the 27th already. This year is just flying by. And I've got a 16-year-old now. My son's birthday was just yesterday, so we celebrated that. So man, these years just keep flying by. And it seems like the older you get, of course, they fly by even faster. But man, we got a lot of stuff to talk about in the weather department. So here's the overall 500 millibar pattern as we get into that Monday time frame, and by then we could have definitely a powerful storm, if not a major hurricane, approaching the Louisiana coastline with major impacts, and also Hurricane Nora out here. So we could have back-to-back hurricane landfalls with formidable systems into Cabo as well as Louisiana. But we do have some cooler air to talk about to the north. So as the jet stream dips, it's going to allow that cooler air to funnel down, at least in our northern states, and bring some of those early fall-like temperatures for them. But as we transition into Wednesday timeframe, and that Wednesday is your first official day of meteorologically fall. That's when the fall records start, basically from September 1st all the way through the end of November. So, and we've got some cooler air to talk about, because after this jet stream dips, we got some cooler air out into our western counties, and then as Ida will be lifting northeast, that's going to bring a lot of inland flooding, but some cooler air with it, with all that cloud cover and all the rain is going to be associated with Ida. But as we transition into Friday timeframe, yeah, that trough is able to dig a little bit further off down to the south. So it's got some cooler air still with it down here into the northwest and to our western states. And even to the northeast is going to get into the action, trailing what will be Ida up into the northeast with some cooler air on the backside of this system, as you do, and unfortunately, heat up, say, in Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas on the backside system with sinking air on the backside. So that's definitely something to look out for as well. As we get into that September 5th timeframe, yes, the jet stream dips a little bit further. So that cooler air is going to be able to dip a little bit further off into our northern sections, as well as even portions of the northeast. So one of the main reasons we see our teleconnections, which is the NAO, which is your North Atlantic oscillation, you can definitely see as we get towards that end of August, and especially into that September 1st time frame, for really the first week of September, it is noticeably negative. And so that's an indication that jet stream is going to be dipping and bring some of that cooler air funneling down into the United States. It's not going to affect everybody, but at least it'll affect a good chunk of at least the northern interiors, because we also have the EPO, which is your Eastern Pacific oscillation, as well turning negative, and then the WPO turns negative as well. So we're seeing a lot of teleconnection congruency coming together and say, hey, we got some early fall-like temperatures on the way. So as we going forward, we go into that September 1st time frame, and a lot of times we talk about, hey, you know, what's average and what's below average. I mean, that sounds great and all, but what does all that mean? So you know, we're already hit the peak of summer, right? I mean, this is the time frame where our daily just average eye temperatures actually starts coming down. All right, so we've hit the peak of summer. Now we're going to start to see that transition into fall, and this is what you would normally see by the time that September 1st time frame rolls around. I know there's a lot of cities here with some numbers, so it's going to be probably pretty hard to see exactly, you know, the actual exact temperature, but some of these readings, you know, mid 70s into our northern interiors, up into the northeast, mid 70s. The temperature drops basically from average high of 97 in the peak summer. Now we're talking 93 in Dallas-Fort Worth area by the time we get into that September 1st time frame. Your average temperatures down here in the southeast are right around that 90-degree mark. And then in the northwest, we've got, you know, some 70s, predominantly low 80s by the time we get in that September 1st time frame. But as we transition towards the end of the month in September 30th, yeah, it really starts to take a nosedive and drops about 10 degrees on average for most of the cities, 7 to 10 degrees on your daily average high temperatures from September 1st through September 30th. So now by the time we get into the end of September, normally you would see 60s for highs in our northern interiors, and then transition to 70s and widespread 80s, mid to low 80s down here in the south and the southeast, and out here into the northwest as well, 70s. But still in the desert southwest, you still see upper 80s even by the time we get into that end of September time frame. So going forward, as we take a look at that September 1st anomaly look, yeah, we've got some cooler air to talk about. What we're going to be happening in the midsection of the country as Ida will make landfall probably sometime late Sunday going into Monday. But there's going to be a lot of inland flooding with Ida that's going to bring a lot of heavy rain inland. It'll bring some of that, cooler, below average anomaly air. But on the back side of the system, you heat up in a big way in Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas and Nebraska. So you are going to be able to heat up on the back side of the system because you have that sinking air on the back side of Ida. So if you do live in these southern states, yeah, you're not going to experience some of this cooler air as it's going to be bottled up into the northwest. But if you live in Idaho and Montana and Wyoming, especially in our Dakotas, you're going to start to see some of that cooler air with the monsoon continuing to remain alive as Nora makes landfall into the Baja, but will start to even lift further north, bringing those cooler conditions and rainier conditions back into the Four Corners regions. But as we transition into that second time frame, Thursday, September the 2nd, yeah, that cooler air continues to funnel down. You still got the sinking air in the backside, and you'll see some of those fall-like temperatures trying to press further south. So you're not going to be seeing heat advisories. I think those basically will go away for the rest of the year. So now we're talking some fall-like temperatures, or at least our portions of the Northwest, and especially into Montana and the Dakotas. And this will continue trying to press southward as we go into that first week of September, because those teleconnections, the further it goes negative, that's allowing the jet stream to dip, and it brings the cooler air just a little bit further and further south. And that's what we're seeing into our northern states, into again Montana and the Dakotas. This will try to press south, but it's fighting that sinking air still on the backside of Ida. But eventually, once Ida's leftovers try to kind of filter out of the system, that's going to be allowing some of this cooler air to sneak over into the Ohio Valley and get into the Northeast. So yeah, by the time we go into that next Saturday time frame, September the 4th, we're still seeing predominantly those well below average anomalies into our north central parts of the U.S. But as we go into, the 5th time frame, again, it just kind of intensifies. That's where I had predominantly a lot of the colder air for September into these regions, into in my one of my September outlooks, overall for the entire month. But then as we go into that 6th time frame, yes, the jet stream is still negative with the teleconnection still negative. So it's still saying, hey, that cooler air is still going to be there. It's just going to be bottled up to our north. So into partial ports of the Northwest, into our northern sections, as well as getting to the Northeast into the action as the remnants of Ida will finally lift away. That's going to be allowing some of that cooler air to at least funnel into our northeastern states, at least for several days. Because as we get into that September 7th time frame through the first week of September, yes, we see that cooler air again into our northern states. So it should be, well, below to well below average, at least for these days into that September 7th time frame. So we are seeing some early indications of some fall-like temperatures, at least for portions of the U.S. with those teleconnections going negative. But as we get into that 8th time frame, so this is only that first week. So you notice after the first week, it does creep back up to more of that neutral line. So when that happens, that's going to bring the cooler air back up into Canada. But still, you'll get the leftover effects into the Northeast as the ridge will start building back in after that first week of September. So that's what's looking ahead for the anomalies for that first week of September. Now let's look at some of the precipitation. So this is actually that second week of September where you're going to get all the rain from Ida. We'll go over that here in a little bit. But man, this is just the same picture you've seen pretty much all summer long. It's going to be dry in the Pacific Northwest for our western states with all the rain into our central and especially into our southeast counties. This is not even counting all the rain that Ida is going to bring. This is the second week after Ida. So we'll go over Ida now what's happening. Man, this thing is really starting to get its act together. I mean, Jamaica is just getting pounded still. The circulation is out here now, but you're still getting backside lift as this thing is starting to get its act together. It's still bringing a tremendous amount of moisture, deep tropical moisture. So they're still expected flooding conditions will continue all day long into Jamaica and this finally starts to lift out by Friday night tonight. That releases over the Cayman Islands, but then it'll hit portions of Cuba, but eventually get into the Gulf of Mexico by the time tomorrow rolls around. Here's the latest update from the National Hurricane Center. It has ramped up to a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm moving at northwest at 15 miles an hour. They've already got hurricane watches posted for pretty much the entire coastline of Louisiana. So if you're Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, definitely be prepared because the latest update from the National Hurricane Center does in fact bring it to a major hurricane, and that's just 60 hours away, guys. So you've got today, you got tomorrow to prepare. Sunday is going to be too late because this system is going to be rapidly approaching the coastline, and we're talking storm surge is way up there. I mean, preliminary numbers are right now at 7 to 11 feet at the peak of the storm, and these things could actually go up a little bit depending on how much Ida is going to be able to intensify the next 60 hours, which there's not much going to be stopping this system to intensify. I do feel this is going to be continuing to intensify all the way to the coast. So the only thing that's going to stop the intensification is the actual landfall itself. So this is a dangerous storm going to be approaching Louisiana, not only with the storm surge, but we're talking an excessive amount of rain. Model guidance continues to put out, upwards to a foot of rain, if not up towards to 18 inches in isolated locations. So yes, we're talking hurricane force winds, major hurricane force winds. We're talking storm surge up to 7 to 11 feet. And then we're talking double-digit rainfall. This is a disaster scenario coming up for portions of Louisiana. And this is what the latest model guidance could simulate for the hurricane model, what it could potentially look like by the time we go into Sunday morning, as this thing is supposed to really rapidly increase. And the National Hurricane Center does, in fact, officially have it coming up to a major hurricane, which we have been talking about on this channel for the past couple of days, but now it's coming to fruition. Say, hey, this storm is the real deal, and you better be prepared because it's coming. And man, you're going to be on your doorstep on the coastline of Louisiana with major impacts towards, getting into, New Iberia, getting into New Orleans. All those places going to be hit hard from this system. And you're no stranger from systems. I mean, just this time last year, you got hit 4 times from Cristobal, Laura, Delta, and Zeta. So unfortunately, you're going to be hit again from what Ida has to bring. So definitely, if you live in those states of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, if you're wanting to leave and you're thinking you leave, and especially if you live south by the coastline, a lot of those parishes where they're basically below sea level, you need to get out. I mean, guys, because it's coming. And so you got today and tomorrow. By Sunday, it's going to be too late. So, hey, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.